Hey everyone, Cerise here. Welcome to the Dream webinar. Okay, so I had a lot of emails that actually, let me turn on the question and answer. There we go. Now, I had so many emails this week on dreams and everything, and they wanted me to go through them with you guys on air here. But I wanted to give you guys first a chance, since you're tuning in, a chance at throwing your dreams out to me. Now, today, what I thought we would cover is not just symbols, because I did get in one of my emails a question, and the question was, is every dream symbolic, or is, like, what does every dream have a representation? And yes, it does. Every dream does. And that's why it's important to know the symbols, and that's why it's important to even look at the previous webinars so you can keep a note of what they represent, all the symbols, the elements, water, fire, earth, and air. I'll go through them almost every week because it is so important to to remember the elements in every dream. And because the elements, if it's water, it could have anything to do with snow, it could have anything to do with water itself, it could have to do with a typhoon, a hurricane, anything, even a rainstorm, a shower. Any symbolism of water represents the same thing over and over, emotions, but it will have a different meaning attached to it depending on what everything, the elements we're going through at the time of the dream. Okay, so I also got another question from someone that asked, she listened to the first dream webinar, and what it was about was how you can start remembering your dreams if you're not remembering them on your own. And she said she did it, and it's really just drinking a glass of water before you go to bed, or having a glass of water beside your bed and drinking it like in the middle of the night. Why? Quite simplistically, it makes the human body need to use the washroom, and the body will get up and use the washroom, but also at that moment, because you're in half sleep, half awake, you will remember your dreams, because you're not thinking about your day when you wake up. You're thinking about using the washroom and getting back to bed. So there's really nothing else on your mind except the residual of the dream. But if you wake up in the morning, what's going to most likely be on your mind is what you have to get done for that day. So it's very difficult to start to remember your dreams, unless, of course, you do what Akila had said, my friend had said before, and she said what you want to do is actually, when you're writing the dream out, you want to go through it, and you want to say, I am doing this, I am walking over a bridge, I am smelling roses, I am seeing this person, that person. So you act like it is in the present tense as opposed to the past tense. Okay, so those are other ways that you can remember the dream. But the question was from this person, they're not remembering them every night. So they learned how to trigger the memory, but the person says that they're not dreaming every night. Now, there are some people who feel like they're not dreaming every night. We dream every night. We really do. Sometimes we just go through our day that we had, and it's not really anything significant. We are just playing out in our mind through our sleep what we did throughout the day. So aside from that, remembering your dream and just kind of going through the flow and everything, you will have significant dreams when you remember them. Those are the ones that will have meaning. So you guys can start sending your questions in. I do have more answers for a lot of other questions that I received. And I wanted to share something with you guys from my own life. Okay, I had a dream last night. Last night I had a dream, and in this dream I dreamt a dog. I dreamed dogs, my own dogs only, usually. Now remember, from the last webinars, dogs represent some type of an authority figure. So it could mean something, and it also could mean somebody who is like a partner to you, okay? So like a companion, which I didn't say in the last webinar. But when you do dream about dogs, it can represent authority figures like the police most times, or something to do with the government. But aside from that, it could also represent like a partner. Because they say that dogs are the man's best friend. So that's what it also could represent. So I had the dream last night. During my dream, I was dreaming about a dog. And my two dogs were there, Magic and Music. They're both Chihuahuas, and they were their happy little selves in my dream. But then all of a sudden, there was a little doggy, and it was blonde hair, curly, 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 like, oh, that's Magic. She's laying beside me, my dog. She got a new little toy, so my elbow just hit it. So anyway, the dog had curly, curly hair and blonde, but almost like a blonde, like a bleach blonde, and it was small curls, like a poodle. And I remember going to the dog and thinking, "Oh, what a sweetheart!" And it was in my apartment. So I went up to the dog and I said, "Where did this dog come from?" And I started to love it and kiss it and hug it. And then I was worried because I was giving it so much love that my other dogs would get jealous. And I was afraid that Music, because she's the youngest one, she would become more jealous than Magic. And in my dream, I was just kept on, giving the dog so much love and going off to the side and trying to hide from my other dogs so they wouldn't get jealous. But I realized that this little puppy, and it was only a little puppy, smaller than my other dogs, it can fit in my hand, and it really needed love. And I had no clue where it came from, but it was just sitting in the corner, not even in the doggy bag where my dogs go and lay usually, but off by the shoes. And I was like, my gosh. So that dream represents dog partnership. So it's not going to represent an authority figure because I was loving this dog. I was holding this dog, and it was so precious to me. And I was also trying not to make my dogs jealous, which my dogs, my other friends, it would represent my other friends. So I was being careful not to hurt anyone else's feelings and my dreams. So that represents me meeting someone new who's going to be a very good partner for me, someone who I love. And also the puppy dog kept going off on its own in the corner. Not because it didn't want my love, but because it was being respectful of my space. So this person who I'm going to meet will be respectful of my space, although it will stay by my shoes, loyal to me. So in other words, this friendship will always be there for me, partnership, so it could be a relationship. And this person will always be close to me and loyal, sitting by my shoes, waiting for me to pick up and walk with them. Meaning they are going to be patient and wait for me to come to them. And when I am, they'll give all the love in the whole world. So that was that dream. And we're going to predict it. My dreams usually come, they usually come, I like to call it unfold. They like to come to fruition. And usually 3 weeks to 3 months, usually. Okay, that's what they are. But I mean, there's been times it happens the next day or the next week. So this one I'm predicting 3 weeks. Okay, guys, so mark it on your calendar and you'll see in 3 weeks it will have something to do with a relationship, maybe a new friend. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm not trying to look into it or read into it. All right, so I don't see any questions here on the side. And it says, ask your audience to submit questions and they will appear below. And you guys are not submitting any this week, and that's completely fine because I have other things that I wanted to talk to you guys about. Now, when you are dreaming, I did have another question of someone who sent me a message, and they said that they were referring to the sexual dreams that I was talking to a few weeks ago. And they said that they don't have dreams about anyone they know. It's just dreams of people they don't know. And they are having like full on hard, whatever, intercourse. And so what's happening is this girl, she said to me, she just doesn't get it because it's not anyone she knows, and these are strangers on the street. And so remember, when you have sex in a dream, it doesn't necessarily mean you are being sexually aroused. It does represent passion, but for the most part, in the waking world, when you have sex about a dream, when you're sleeping, you wake up, it will represent an argument that you will have with someone. Of course, the argument depends on the degree of the contact. A kiss might mean like a little conflict or whatever, but you're having like full on sex, like real intercourse and or something of that nature. And what it means is that you will be having a huge, conflict. And it doesn't mean there won't be any resolution or reconciliation in the conflict, but it does mean that there will be a disconnection of some kind. It could be for a few hours, it could be for a few days, it really could be for a few years. So when you have a dream of having full on sex like that, then that's, you're going to have a dispute. Now, if you're having it constantly with strangers, then that's something very different. If you're having it with people like, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, or something, and it's like a horrible dream, and you're like, I would never usually have sex with them, it just means you're going to argue with them. But strangers is something different. It means you have very low tolerance for people. And it also means that you have a quick temper. And a quick temper is never good. And it also means that you judge people. Now, we all judge people. We all get angry, okay? And we all sometimes have quick tempers when we're very hurt. But when we do it in moderation, it's totally fine. When we are doing it in a way where it is, you know, bringing harm to ourselves, like we're constantly judging people, we're constantly seeing their negatives, and we never look for the positive, and we think to ourselves, oh, they did it again, I'm not surprised. Stuff like that, or judging people and the way they look and the way they dress and the way they talk, or their culture, or and what they choose to believe in is not fair. And what happens is you start to develop a shield around you, a negative aura around you, where other people will not come near you. Other people pick up on that energy immediately. And other people, they rather be around positive people, because in our society today, we know, yes, misery loves company. But even misery has been checking out positivity these days, because even misery is realizing that there is an alternative to living miserable, and that is called healthy lifestyle living. They may not be checking out churches or synagogues or temples or anything of that nature, but they may be, as miserable as they are, watching funny videos on YouTube or reading beautiful inspirational quotes and posts on Facebook. I get so many inspirational quotes a day that I can read from almost every second Facebook friend. And I'm always so impressed with our society when I see those posts, no matter if they're religious, spiritual, or even just uplifting. I always enjoy it when I see that. And I notice that even the miserable people, not to be rude, but miserable people who I grew up with, who were always so negative, and they would always be like, oh, look at what she's wearing, or oh, look at what he said, and oh, he's not going to do this, and all this negative stuff. Now I see more posts from them on Facebook about positivity than I see from anyone else. People are joining the race, the human race of love. The humanitarian concerns are now coming. People are saying to themselves, they don't want to fight and argue and scream and holler. They really want to know how they can get along and be good in a relationship, in a friendship. So back to your question about dreaming about all these people. I think that what you need to do is look at the beauty in everything. When you're walking down the street and if someone is annoying you, because trust me, I live in downtown Toronto, and I live right like one street east of Yonge Street. So imagine, and I live like right in the core. So people sometimes when I walk up to the corner street, I will see people just standing there in the way, and there's been times where I'm like, oh my gosh, seriously? Do they not know that they're in the way? Like how many people have almost bumped into them? But then I say to myself, seriously, who am I to judge them? I don't know if it's their first time in Toronto. I don't know if it's their first time in a city, period. I don't know if they're from somewhere up north and even never traveled down here before. Who am I to say, get out the way? That's not cool. So I put myself in check, and I think if I'm in their feet, in their shoes, I know living downtown Toronto that you gotta scurry through the streets and you gotta watch your back to make sure that you're not blocking anyone at a crosswalk, because the crosswalks are so close together. But this is something that I am mindful of. And so I understand that you, the person who wrote the question, you are like, you probably get annoyed at people very quickly. And there's probably a lot of people in your world that are annoying. So I'm not discounting your emotions or your feelings. What I'm saying is it's now seeping into your dreams. And if you're dreaming about having sex with all these strangers and you are not a sexual person, like how you said in your email, that you're not a sexual person, the last time you had sex was 2 years ago, then that's an issue. Okay? So what you want to do is when you see someone down the street and you don't like what they're wearing or you're judging their behavior or whatever, just say, you know what? Maybe they're maybe they're not dressed nice that day because they have a laundry day. Or maybe style is not important to them. And just say to yourself, who are you to judge them? So, and also, it could also mean having those dreams that you're holding resentment against people or afraid of people outside. So it could be that you don't trust people, and you might want to put those emotions in check as well. I see a question here on the side from Laura. End of the month, I had a dream that I was at work, and all of a sudden, I looked to the north, and it was so dark. As I looked out the window, I could see a tornado coming. So I yelled to everyone that there's a tornado coming. No one got hurt but my sister. Hmm. But my sister was there too. So this was at the end of the month you had this dream? Um, Laura, I'm wondering if you can let me know, because the tornado represents something that is going, and your sister was there. And I'm wondering if it is your twin sister, or because I know Laura. So is it your twin sister or is it one of your other sisters? Now, you just having your sister there, period, represents support. The tornado is water, pretty much, and wind and everything of that nature, and it's going through the land and it's spinning around and around. Now, you were at work, so that means that tornado has nothing to do with you. You weren't in your home, so there's nothing, like if you were in your bedroom, it would most likely have something to do with your heart, like your heart area. If it had a tornado coming into your house, it would have something to do with the bathroom. You'd probably dream it in the bathroom. That's the organ area. Something of that nature, okay? But what you dreamt about was being at work around other people. I'm suspecting that you dreamt yesterday's weather, and that is a psychic dream, very much, full hands down. And you said you had it at the end of the month. So that would mean a good 3 weeks. My dreams come unfold every 3 weeks as well. You might want to check that out. And because I know you, I know that there's nothing really emotional happening in your life that, like, I want to clarify this though. If you do have a dream outside of the house, it could still have to do with your heart and emotions. Okay, I'm just pinpointing people. Don't just think that it has to be in the house to have anything to do with relations, because my cousin left a question a few weeks ago, and the question was about, I think it was a wolf or something like that, that she had a dream about in the woods, and it would represent a relationship, okay? But just back to Laura, to your dream there, the tornado was most likely a prediction of yesterday's weather in Toronto, and we were hit by pretty much, you could call it like hurricane weather. And actually, my cell phone went down, my son's cell phone went down, and his cell phone is still not working. So let me know, Laura, if you feel it had something to do with that, okay? And that was again 3 weeks ago. So that will tell you if you do feel like it had something to do with that, and you feel settled now that that is what it was, you predicting the weather. Then what you want to do is write down you said it was the end of the month. So what you want to do is start predicting your dreams in around every 3 weeks. So when you have a dream, write it down and expect it to unfold every 3 weeks to 3 months. Okay, and that will change, people. Like sometimes you will have a dream here, there, and it will change. But then we will go through phases in life where we will start to notice that our dreams are not coming to fruition or unfolding every so often as they used to. And they start to change their cycle, just as a woman's menstrual cycle would, or just like the moon would, or just like Mother Nature in and of herself. hmm Just going to look at the time here. It's 7:20, so we have 10 more minutes left. And I just wanted to talk about actually something that is really close to my heart, because one person got to me, kind of left me a email saying, "Oh, dreams are not really real. It's just people's overactive imaginations." And I do know that I shouldn't allow that stuff to get to me, so I didn't get annoyed or anything. I just didn't know how to approach the answer, because it's unfortunate that this person would not understand that, like I said in the past webinars, how children even know about dreams. And this is my point today. What about dogs? Speaking about my dogs earlier and stuff, I have two Chihuahuas. I'm at home with them often, and they're with me. I'm their number one caregiver, their only caregivers. And, I listen to them dream. I hear them go, in their sleep. I'm like, what are they dreaming about? Like, seriously. I know they're dreaming about the doggy playground and when they were there during the day. Because I'll take them for walks. But sometimes I'll take them for walks, just the three of us, and we go here and there, and I'll run errands, and they get their little exercise in. But then there's times where I'll take them to Riverdale Farm, and we'll go down the hill there, and there's like a lot of other dogs, and they do their little doggy playground activity. That's when they have more active dreams. That's when I hear more in their sleep, and it's so beautiful. Or when I have company come over, my sisters and my mom and my dad and everyone, we're all having dinner or whatever. These guys my two girls, they will dream for days. Whatever activity happened that day, they will dream about it for days. So dreaming is the mind just working as it's sleeping. And then there are times where my dogs will have nightmares, and I, didn't do anything extraordinary with them during the day. There was no company over. But then I noticed that I have to actually wake them up, because they're so involved in their dream, like they're really living in it, that I have to shake them and say, "Come, hey, you okay? Come on, wake up, baby." And they look at me like they were out of it, like they were in another world, because they were. The conscious mind has power. Now, oh, Laura answered. It was her twin sister that she had the dream of. So Laura, your sister was there as well. Now, you don't work with your sister. I wonder if you spoke to your sister during the storm last night, or was your sister with you? I know that you don't live with her, but was there any communication at all last night during the storm? Now, the work thing, the fact that you dreamt about it at work, that's more than one person, more than you. If you dreamt about it in a car, it would mean that it's somebody who you're chilling with. Like, say if you were in the car and there was a tornado, and the person who's driving the car might be a friend or a family member or a co-worker, it would mean that the dream is going to be about them, and the tornado will affect their life. If you were in the driver's seat, then it means the tornado will affect your life. And likewise, but you are at work, which means that tornado will affect a multitude of people. And it did. Again, the weather. I'm just going to look at the time. So we have 6 minutes left. 6 minutes, 6 minutes, 6 minutes. Dougie Fresh, you're on. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. Right? Okay. So I'm just going to check my email, because I had a few complaints last week. Not really complaints, but just people saying that they left their emails, and they were online at the time and they didn't get through. So let me just check right here. Give me a second. Okay, I'm in my email. Hi, Cerise. I had a dream of my husband cheating on me. I have this dream often. Can you please tell me what it is? I'm getting sick and tired of it. It causes arguments in our marriage, and he denies it constantly. I have dreams of him having sex with a particular person most of the time, his secretary. The other times I have a dream that he's trying to have sex with my sisters, and they're trying to escape family functions to go off alone together. Oh, hoo hoo. I'm joking. That's your subconscious mind. You don't trust your man. You don't trust your husband. You have some trust issues. And if your husband has cheated on you before, and you're dealing with that, then obviously those are the trust issues. If he has not cheated on you ever and you have those dreams, then obviously it's quite dangerous to your psyche. You're going to wake up in the morning and you're going to be angry at your husband, and you're going to be asking him, has he been doing anything, and all that jazz, and it's just going to tear your mind apart. What you need to do when you start feeling insecure about your husband, when you start feeling like he's up to something, bring it to him. Talk to him about it. It doesn't matter how silly you feel. It doesn't matter if you feel like, oh my gosh, this is so silly. I have no reason to do this or that. I was speaking to a client today who she just felt insecure because she was walking with her husband, and a woman walked by, and my client recently gained a few pounds, so she's a little insecure about her own body, but her husband loves her the way she looks, and he couldn't even care less if she lost weight. But this woman that walked by him looked at him, and my client said, she just looked at you. And he said, oh, okay, well, I didn't see her look at me. And she's like, yes, you did. I saw you look her way. And he's like, I was looking at the car over there. Look at the car. And then he kept pointing towards the car. And she's like, stop, stop. Don't point at the car, because that girl's going to think you're pointing at her. And I was like, okay. The trust issues come out. And so I said to her, before you actually start allowing this to manifest in your subconscious mind and allowing your own insecurities of your appearance and your weight to affect your relationship, talk to him about it. Don't yell at him and accuse him. Just sit back and say, you know what, right now I'm feeling very insecure, and I just I don't want to feel this way. Can you give me some reassurance? And it's not his job to reassure you, but he loves you, so I don't think he'd have a problem doing it. Okay, and then that way you won't have horrible dreams about your husband cheating. You'll have dreams about you guys laughing and walking and carrying on, or you might have dreams about you guys making love, and that's arguing, but at least you're not having dreams of him cheating. There's a question here. Yes, she called me to make sure everything was okay. So your twin called you to make sure everything was okay during the storm. So there you go. And so when you had the dream about the tornado and everyone at work, so it wasn't necessarily work. It was just a lot more people involved. And then your sister was there with you, which was support. And she called you during the storm. So girl, you had a psychic dream about the weather. You need to be predicting on YouTube. You need a job on City TV, because they can't even predict 2 weeks, 3 weeks ahead of time. All right, y'all. Right now it's 7:28. So I am going to sign out unless there's any other questions at all. What I'm going to let you guys know next week, what I'm going to do is read a few emails that I'm going to get sent. And yeah, I'm really enjoying you guys joining in every week. And please do not hesitate to send me text messages as well throughout the week. Please don't make them too long, because when I do them on air, they need to be very quick and very also speedy, so I can answer them. And yeah, so I think that's about it. I answered everyone's questions. And oh yes, the one that I did not answer, with the girl thinking that her husband was sneaking off with the sister. What's happening is your sister is someone who you care for and you love, and at certain times you might feel like there's a competition going on there. But trust me, usually when you have that type of dream, it doesn't represent the sister wanting your husband or your husband wanting your sister. Okay? It could even mean they don't even like each other and neither one of them are telling you, because they're trying to run off and have sex together, or if they're trying to run off and talk together. It's a difference, okay? And we'll talk deeper about that. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me. CeriseFairfax.com. Join me next week, Wednesday at 7 p.m. God bless you and have an awesome, fantabulous week.